I want to take a minute. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so now we got everything underway. I want to be the proud person to introduce our instructor for today's home buyers home education course. Is Miss Stephanie Stewart out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, you might not know Stephanie yet, but her name and her brand is starting to spread around the country as Educate to Own, meaning she took what she saw happening in the city of Milwaukee and Wisconsin and said, most people around the country need to know these things. So she's differentiated herself as a certified realtor in our partnership with Make Wealth Real Financial, the first in the state of Wisconsin. And ideally, imagine this as a process. She's that type of realtor who will help you first qualify to buy a property, which is a big gate for a lot of people, help you identify, find, and buy the right property for you. And then she has a set of strategies to help you pay off that mortgage in record time so that you reduce how much interest you pay the bank and own the home faster. And she is one of the specialists in a new program that we've introduced called Fire Your Landlord, or My Landlord's Fired. It's one of those. But either way, it's getting rid of paying people rent. So without further ado, let me get out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, y'all give it up for Stephanie Stewart.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harden. Now let me not, say anything else without being able to give him his flowers. Mr. Harden has been able to blaze the trail just as far as being one of the most educated people I know. Multiple degrees, been able to generate that wealth for his family, as well as teach other families how to do it in a very well system where he breaks it down. Loves to have fun, but no, most definitely this last year has been phenomenal. Just being able to stand next to somebody else who's just like, we're on a mission, let's make a change and let's get to the next step. So I'm gonna ask you guys to come off mute if you can. I mean, if you're at work, don't get in trouble for me. However, what motivates you to get a home? What made you wake up one day and be like, you know what? I'm gonna buy this. I don't want my landlord no more. So what was it?
Me. One. Oh,
go ahead, Lily. Lily and Trina, go ahead.
Hi. I didn't get to introduce myself. My name is Lily Bryant. I am the daughter of Angela Johnson. I did find out about this program by way of my mother. She's been working really hard in this, so I've seen it. For me, one of the biggest things that made me get interested in this program, rent is astronomical right now. I feel like both me and my boyfriend feel like we could pay a lot less with a mortgage. So definitely interested in, utilizing this program and its resources.
Yes, they are crazy. I was actually looking up I was thinking about moving and I was just looking at rent prices versus owning. And when I tell you the price of the rent was literally more than the mortgage that I was gonna pay, I was like, you know what? Let me just save up a little bit more money. Let me go buy that house because that rent was crazy. Mm-hmm. Trina, how about you? What was something that made you just be like, I'm done with it?
Well, exactly what you just said. I got into a program last year, Dream America. So I'm in the house that I want to buy right now. Okay. But just paying them and probably paying double what I'm going to eventually pay is my motivation. So I figure if I can pay this, I know I can pay my own mortgage, by myself. So
most definitely what I've noticed that sometimes when they go to help, they put you in a situation to make it so if the world falls down, you can still know how to survive because they charge you so much. Now, the downside of that is they charge you so much. What money you got to save for the next adventure?
Right.
So I'm glad you guys brought that up. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now I feel bad because I know I was supposed to run upstairs and get my mouse, but whatever, we're going to work it out. So let me go to bam. Motivation for a home. So for some people, they're going to walk in a house and they're going to fall in love with the cosmetics. This means the kitchen, the floor, the lights, whatever. They're going to fall in love with something that is just pretty. Or they saw it on TV back in the day on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like I did, and they thought this was a social norm. Maybe it was the bedroom size. Maybe you want something small, something big, an investment property. I work with both regular homeowners, first-time homeowners. I shouldn't say regular, but I mean like seasoned homeowners, first-time homeowners, and investors. So if you're looking for something that can, maybe you want a tenant that pays the mortgage, somebody to pay the property taxes, somebody to pay for upgrades, and then you can live in another one. There's definitely ways that you can get into real estate and still make it make sense. COVID's been going around crazy where you may or may not be able to go to the gym. You may or may not be able to go to the movies. So why not have one in your own finished basement, paying for it anyway? So regardless of what it really was, of what convinced you to go ahead and go get a home, the before and afters were definitely my favorite. What it comes down to is, where am I going to live? How much is it going to be? How do I start? And who is going to pay for it? Because, I mean, let's be real. When we go to a grocery store, or we go to a shoe store, or we go to any store, we see a price tag, we're expected to go in our back pocket, be able to pay for it, and that's that. Now, when it comes to a house may be a little bit more than we thought. So if we don't have it in our back pocket, it's on a sense of who's on your team. Who's the expert that you have working with you? Do you have a lender? Do you have a title company? Do you have an appraiser? Do you have a realtor? Do you have a contractor if something goes wrong? Who's really on your side to work with you when it comes to getting a house? Buying a house is going to be one of the most expensive things you're going to get. So it's a matter of making sure you're not going into the game foolishly. When it comes to buying a home, there's going to be 5 key steps. It's who you're working with, so your team of experts. If it's going to be cash or finance, you're going to then search for a home. So this is where the realtor comes in to really be able to say, hey, that house looks like it may have some issues. And not saying that they're home inspectors to say the roof is bad or the foundation is bad or anything like that. But we've been in enough houses where we can kind of know at least the main things to stay away from. Like, for instance, if you go down to the basement and all the basement walls are straight, right? If you saw a bulge in the wall, how bad is bad? Or what exactly would you say is bad if it has a bulge in the wall? Is it 2 inches, 3 inches? Is it a 9-month pregnant belly? Do you have experience in this? So it's really just knowing what kind of comes with it, and then who's going to help you go ahead and get to closing. So your title company, wiring, things like that. Now, if you don't know who you have in your corner, I'm going to let you know that I do know somebody who's fantastic with Make Wealth Real Financial. There's 2 ways you can get in, one way through a customer, one way through the business. The difference is going to be that one helps you pay for the home. The other one may not, but one is going to be mostly just tax, bill, debt, credit, your own personal finance, but it's not going to actually bring any more money in outside of the instant pay raise. When you do on the business side, now you have a way to have some cash flow coming in. So now this can pay for your inspection, pay for your appraisal, pay for these other things that come up. So it's not that much of a burden, but we're going to put a pin in that and come back to that, because bottom line, where you live is going to depend on how much you're going to pay. So write in the chat for me where you guys are from. So I don't remember what states we have on the line, but I'll start with me, and then somebody else, you're free to either yell out or write in the chat where you're from. So I'm in Wisconsin, so this is a green state. Green state's going to be that it's not as expensive to pay for something that may be in one of the yellow states, orange states, red states. Case in point, I can go buy $1 million mansion for half the cost here in Wisconsin. I can go buy $1 million building in California and it can be completely burnt down to the ground, but people will still pay for it. I can take that same $1 million down to Georgia and the house is nice, but it's a lot more than what I'm paying for over here in Wisconsin. Make sense? We got Georgia. Okay, cool. So renting in America is skyrocketing. There's no question about it. The average rent right now for a 3-bedroom is hitting on $2,000. I even checked these same numbers this morning. I was looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a fenced-in yard. We looking at a good $2,500. So the prices are just going up over. Right. I was like, really? What exact finance situation do you think people are in to pay for this? And then it made me kind of wonder what was their mortgage. So what I really looked at is how much have I been paying rent and how long? For me, the most I've ever paid was $1,200. I've been renting for over 10 years, and that brought me to $144,000. That meant that I could actually pay for a house. Quick question, how much are you guys paying in rent currently? And how long have you been renting?
I'm paying $2,100 and I have been renting this property to own, hopefully,
Right.
since May of last year.
How long have you been renting in your entire life of renting?
This is the only time I've rented. I had a house before when I was married, but we sold that after the divorce. So this is
Okay.
my first time renting by myself.
Even at $2,100 in less than a year, you're still sitting at just under $25,000.
Yep.
Is that or is that not a down payment for a house?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Wow.
Does anybody else want to share? That's in year one. Woo. Man. If you would like to share, go ahead and put it in the chat. But the idea is just really that we are literally paying for somebody else's mortgage. People are out here paying $400 mortgages, but then charging $2,500 or $2,100 or $1,200 in rent. So they're the ones that's really pocketing that money versus being able to us be on that other side of the wealth gap. So when it comes to buying a house, yes, that is the automatic answer of saving money. But the matter is, so 15, yep, same thing. So then the main thing that they're going to look at are going to be these four numbers. It's going to be your credit score, debt to income ratio, your down payment, and your income or monthly cash flow. Your credit is going to be on a range. I think it starts like 350 and goes up to 850. Now, where you are on this tier is going to be the most important thing because it's going to directly affect your interest rates, your down payment, and what kind of loan you have. So if you're sitting at, so for instance, let's talk about somebody who may be sitting between 580 and 619. They have some credit issues and they may not qualify for some loans. And I guarantee you there's somebody out there that's going to say, I know somebody who can do it. It's not saying that you can't do it. It's the matter that the interest rates are really high. The down payment may be high. The terms may not be as great as somebody who may be sitting at either the middle at the 680 or even the 740, 800 club, where now you're looking at the best results. I was on a conversation with one of our mentors, Brian and Beanie, yesterday, and he was talking about how he was able to get to the 800 club and he was able to bring his 3.25 interest rate down to a 2.25 interest rate. And just that 1% was over $200,000 that he was saving. So it's crazy, crazy savings just to be able to really monitor these numbers. So interest rate, types of loans, down payments. Now, have any of you guys ever heard of the type of loans out there for a home? Feel free to yell them out of the types that you've heard of. And if you haven't, I'll say them.
Conventional.
Conventional, yep, that's one.
FHA.
FHA, I was gonna say FHA.
Okay, any others?
VA.
Yeah, veterans are only for veterans. Are any of you guys veterans?
Conventional loan.
Mhm. So there's a couple of different loans out there. It's all going to be based off your own situation. So there's going to be the main types, which are going to be a fixed rate or an adjustable rate, which means it either stays the same interest rate or it fluctuates over the years. There's going to be a conventional loan where not saying that you can buy anything, but you don't have as many restrictions as what's on the FHA. The FHA is going to be targeted more so for first-time home buyers. They're government-backed just in case you default. Sometimes they advertise some different things, grants, other things like that. Not saying anyone is better or worse than the other one. And the other type is going to be like a balloon or a jumbo type loan. Balloon, jumbo, these are going to be ones that have a larger down payment and a shorter time period to pay them off. So instead of your 15, 30 years, you're looking at maybe 2 to 5 years, 2 to 7 years, a lot shorter time than what we originally were going to do with a 30-year plan. Now, Richard, would you please be able, because you do this oh so well. Since you've been able to work with Make Wealth Real Financial, what are some things that make up credit, and how are they broken down, or how can you keep that score up?
Okay, and I appreciate the opportunity to share this because I definitely didn't know this. Like, I didn't know what my credit score was coming from. I just knew it wasn't good. But credit score is made up of 5 components, meaning the biggest piece of your credit score is your payment history. And each of the people that you borrowed money from, so your credit card company, student loans, the banks, they report how you have paid. Did you pay on time? They especially report if you paid late, and the more recent something negative is. So lates are considered negative, not paying or not paying enough. All of those are things that are in the payment history. At the same time, your good history counts. The next biggest piece is how much you owe relative to how much you could owe. So say, for instance, you got like a $300 store card. I was working with a young lady the other day. She had $300 was her credit limit, and she had the card at $295. That shows up as 98% credit utilization is the word that they use. We were able to get her, just by paying that one card off, we were able to jump her score up like 50 points just in the course of a month by understanding how much that impacted her. After that, you got other things, percentage of credit, types of credit, and then inquiries. How often are you asking for money? And you get bigger hits. This is something that I tell people to be very careful about. You get bigger hits for those impulse purchases. So when you're at the cash register, they say you want to save 20% off by getting a Macy's card today. Those take the biggest hits, usually 4 or 5 points you could lose right there before you even spend any money on a new card. And there's 2 categories of things. So I like to let people know when we're teaching this whole credit education process, there are things that you can do, and we have a team of experts that can do things that you probably can't do. Meaning the number one thing anybody can do to keep their credit score high is pay your bills on time, if not early. Number 2, make sure that you monitor your credit score. Meaning you can't win the game if you don't know the score. Credit reports, especially ones that track the score, let you know what things are happening so that 2 things, you know what you're doing, but because the level of fraud is so high right now, you have a way of knowing when somebody else is doing something with you and attempting to be. The third thing, if you have existing credit cards, make sure they're well below the limit. It says right here, keep it at 50%. Ideally, you want to have no more than 10% of what you could borrow on a card on that card, because the psychology of banks, imagine this, they loan money to people that don't look like they need money. So if you got a high balance, that's their indicator that you need money. If you don't, it keeps the same thing. Now, once you pay off your credit card, and we do have some strategies, we'll talk about these later, for being able to pay off credit card debts extremely rapidly, keep them open with a little bit on. Meaning, I've got a bunch of cards right now with $0 to $10 balances, but credit limits in the thousands, right? That shows, again, low utilization, which increases your credit score. And then as you're going through this home purchase process, don't open new accounts. Meaning, the sad part about working with people on this home qualification process is people get excited. They say, you know what, I found the house I want to get. I'm going to go out and buy a dining room set. Salesman on the dining room set at the furniture showcase says, no money down. What people don't realize is both that inquiry and that new balance might mess up the debt to income ratio. I had somebody that literally had to take their brand new dining room set and put it back in a rental house. So make sure the deal is closed. Once you close the deal, you can go back and get the dining room set later. And then last but not least, there's a line here, think twice before co-signing. As a matter of fact, if you're trying to buy a house, don't co-sign for anybody else for anything, because if they need a co-signer, what it means is that a team of professionals is already determined that that person is not likely to pay. And if they don't, it acts just like you didn't pay unless you make their payment for them. I know you love them, let them do their work. Does that make sense? So I know that took a little bit longer than I probably wanted to, Steph, but did I cover it? Does anybody have any questions about the pieces that go into a credit score? Any questions? Because I know this is something that is not taught, but it should be. This is something that could easily be taught in schools. It's just that I think it's in the bank's best interest for our credit scores to be low. Because they make more money that way.
Most
Yep.
definitely.
You ready?
And it's,
Okay.
no questions, cool. It's actually funny you said
Questions?
about the
Anything in the chat?
co-signing.
There's no
I didn't see
questions in the
anything.
chat.
Now, does everybody know their credit score out there? Do you kind of know what range you're in and what's holding it up or down?
Yep.
Okay. You got some yeses. I like people who know their scores. I have a lot of buyers who don't know their score, have never tracked it whatsoever. And then they heard somebody say they could do something to do it, and then it don't work that way.
Yep. So these are the things that we can do. But then we get together with the experts. We'll talk later about what they've been able to do for us, Steph, or we're doing that now.
We are going to do that in a little bit.
Okay.
One more thing on the co-signing thing. I've had, me being a realtor, I've had some clients, they come up with so many different things, so many different, just fantastic ways of how to get through the home buying process.
Right.
When it comes to co-signing, this also means when you're added as an authorized user, don't count on that to get you the house. The reason why is because that person is using their card because it's their card and they have the right to do what they want to do with it. They may or may not know that you're buying a house off of what that card is going to increase on your credit. So it's a matter of really being able to have your own individual credit versus, trying to pair up with somebody who already has good credit. I've had so many clients come through and say, oh, I'm just going to co-sign on, not co-sign, I'm going to be an authorized user on somebody else's card. They try in 2 months, I'm going to be good. 2 months come, that balance on that card is over 115%. They ain't paid a payment, stuff like that. So it actually hurt them. So they couldn't get a house right away. So just really think twice about how you're going about, getting into the house. Debt to income ratio is going to be the next part. So debt to income ratio is going to be your monthly expenses. So what money you got going out, your gross income, not the money on your check, as in the gross before taxes. And then that's going to equal out your debt to income ratio. So most people, car note 400, student loans 500 when they're not deferred, credit card limit 3. And I say that because I'm a firm defer.
That's what's on the 10 years challenge.
Right? And the mortgage they were looking at where it was $1,000. So $2,200, their annual salary was $60,000, $5,000 a month. It sounds good, right?
Well,
look at the numbers. The numbers say that $5,000 divided into the 2,200 puts them at 44%. What do you guys think happens if they get laid off of their job for 2 weeks? What happens if they get in a car accident and they can't get to work and they have to get a new car?
I don't have room.
It's not that much wiggle room. It's literally being check to check, check behind a check. If anything happens, everything goes suspended. So when banks are looking at your numbers, they want you, if you're above 40%, they're either going to say no, or they're going to say, yeah, but make sure you read that fine print.
Yep.
Between 20 and 40%, you're okay. You got some flexibility. Life happens. It's not that everything's going to be perfect. But if you want to be able to walk into the lender and say, hey, here are my numbers, show them a debt to income ratio below 20%. Right. Show them that you've already paid off that car. You've already paid off the student loans. You paid off the credit cards, and the mortgage that you're going to get may be the only bill that you have. Not saying this has to be you, but in an ideal world, this is what they will be looking for. And so you put $500 extra a month on your check, 5,500, divide that in 12. Now you're into 18%. 18% now means I can take, a vacation and not just, days away. I can actually, do things where now that it's a lot easier if, taxes go up, if the furnace needs to be repaired, if the squirrels done shoot a hole in the roof, just things that can happen, especially with buying a home, you have a little bit more flexibility. Because when it comes down to it, life has its ups and downs, and nobody is, saying that this doesn't happen. But 4 things are for certain. Number 1 is taxes are going to be your biggest expense. When you go to work, you get paid at the end of the week or end of every 2 weeks or however you get paid. But before you got paid, the IRS got paid, the Medicaid got paid, the state got paid, everybody else got paid, and then you have to go off of what's left. And this number is so crazy because what's left is not the number that they do your debt to income ratio with. They do it before everybody else got their money. So my question is, how exactly are you telling me that I'm making more money and you see it ain't in my pocket? The next thing is going to be debt. That's going to be the second largest expense. So buying a house. Yeah. Some people are going to call it assets. Most people are going to call it a debt. Student loans, medical bills, anything that you owe to somebody else. And they turn right around, and then big business and inflation got us no matter what. No matter what, every 30 days, if not less than 30 days, we have a holiday. This is what, January? So we had Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day. I'm seeing all types of stuff just coming up no matter what, or it's that buy 3, get 1 free. And I'm like, I only came for 1. I don't really understand why, but there's a big for sale sign and it's shiny. So buy, Walmart is a trip. But then let's talk about inflation. Have you guys ever gone to the grocery store and looked at how much your meat is now?
It's crazy.
Yes.
It's like double on groceries, it feels like.
Man, redonkulous. I went and got some chicken, and I don't remember chicken being $30. But I feel like I'm paying restaurant prices for me to make it at home. Has anybody ever noticed that, the gas went up since COVID, since the shutdown?
Oh, yeah.
Time after time and time, these things go up, but because we don't control those things, they tend to go ahead and be in our pockets too. So the point that when it comes to how much we need, we have to be able to fight all those things and then still have these numbers. So how much you need is going to be based off of your purchase price. If you want a $65,000 house or $1 million house, you're going to need 1% within the first 5 days of an accepted offer off top. So if you're looking at 100,000, that's $1,000. If you have everything in order, they'll give you a 3.5 interest rate or lower, or say you need 3.5% down. This is now going to be 3,500. Now, earnest is not some random dude you give money to. Earnest comes from the down payment. So the down.
I know somebody want to know why Ernest get money.
Right.
Ernest mean I'm serious.
Yes, earnest is like a security deposit if you're looking at rentals. So that 3,500 now goes to 2,500 because you already paid the 1,000. Makes sense? But now let's look if it goes to 5% or even 20%. Looking at 5%, even from 10,000 to 7,000, those are still thousands of dollars going up just off of having some debt, having some issues, saying that I want a house right now. I don't care how much it takes. Go ahead and finance everything. You get kind of these things going up. And then if say you're an investor looking for an investment property, or you are looking to move to a different state, but don't have a job established there yet, and you haven't been in the same company for more than 2 years, you're looking at now 20%. There's going to be some people that say, no matter what, have 20% saved up when you buy a house. The more money you can put on a house in the beginning is going to be the less money you pay over time. That's the least amount of money that has that interest rate on it. Now, yes, we understand that everybody doesn't do it, but if you could do it, that would be the best scenario. Because when it comes to buying a house, they're going to ask, is your foundation together? Do you know what you're doing? Do you have somebody helping you get through with it? Do you have a support system? Do you know how much you're going to spend? Does your finances scream $200,000 house, but you're looking at $700K loss? Are you being realistic in what you can afford and what you still want to do? And when you do your budget for your house, Don't max out your budget to say, oh, I can pay $2,500 in a mortgage. You want to pay the least amount of money possible so that you can go on trips. You can go shopping. You can do the things that you want to do, and you can live life instead of just, surviving. Your prepayables, we say 1,000 plus earnest. Now this will fluctuate depending on where you are. Home inspection is about 300 to 400, depending on who you use. And if you add radon or foundation or anything else, these are just extra fees. So just know that when you're getting into the game of buying a house, you need at least some kind of money in your back pocket. So getting out of debt, student loans, cars, outstanding bills. Your car, please do not go buy a car. If you are in the process of buying a car and you want to buy a house and it's not in a dire emergency need that you need to get that car, wait to get the house. Because the car can stop you from getting a house, but the house will actually help you get a car. Have emergency fund. This means a mini and a regular emergency fund. Your mini emergency fund says, I don't think I've seen any potholes in Atlanta anytime I've gone down there, but we're gonna just imagine you guys have potholes.
We have some.
Emergency fund says, ooh, I bust a tire. I got this $80 to go get a new tire. Mini emergency fund is, oh man, I got a random trip I need to go on to because my mom needs me up north. You can do those things and it's not coming out of your rent money. It's not coming out of your energy bill. It's not coming out of the money that you need to make your house flow. Your true emergency fund is what's going to come in handy. One, if you ever lose your job. Two, if anything ever happens. And when I say anything ever happens, this means that you want to still be able to have money after you pay your down payment and your closing costs for if something happens. Yes, you can get a home warranty. Yes, there's home insurance. But what if a tree falls through your roof? We had a crazy windstorm a while ago, and there was literally branches sticking out people's roofs, like the house was a tree. You have to be able to have some money to fix that. Yes or yes?
Yes. And you gotta fix it right away.
Right. Fix that immediately. So your down payment, like the 3 to 20%, and then as we said, surviving to living. Any questions so far on building a house?
You're muted, Trina. I see you saying something. It sounds like a good question too.
I'm sorry. I wanted to see if she could touch again. I may have missed it where she's talking about the written budget, the 70-10-10-10.
Yes. So 70-10-10-10. Great question. You have 100% of your money in the jar. 70% of that you want to delegate to your expenses. So this is your housing expenses, the energy bill, the rent, the mortgage now, the kids' random school fees, all the regular stuff that goes into being an adult. Then you have 10-10-10. You have a savings 10%. You have what I call an investing 10%. And then you have a free-for-all fund 10%. That free-for-all 10 is your vacations. That's your, this is recorded, let me not say that. All the things you like to do when you like to have fun, that goes in that jar. Your parties, all that jazz. That is that 10%, but that cannot come out of what you are surviving off out of. Like if you're at the point where you're like, I gotta pay my rent on the first, but I really, really wanna go drinking, and you go pick drinking over paying your rent, you're not at the right space. You got to be able to have the money to pay your rent and go pay for your adventure. And if you can't pay for the club, at least pay for the bottle.
But it's one thing to think about with this, and it's intentional, meaning most people don't budget their impulse. Am I making sense? Like I know, well, I'm not gonna judge y'all. I'm gonna tell you about me. And I know that I used to add up all my money and I say, I'm going to save what's left. But then, we'll have a rough day. We'll need a tasty beverage or go out to the club. And because it wasn't budgeted, it would either go on the credit card or dip into something else. By budgeting your fund, you are planning to still have a life, still planning to have tasty beverages, still planning to go out or whatever. But it's planned, and when you get to the end of that money, you got to have the discipline to say, I'm on plan. That's all I got. And you can legitimately tell your friends, I done used up all my club money. I can't go.
Right. Any other questions? That was a great question. No? Okay. So after we have all those things in a line,
I guess I should say, make sure when we saying written, write it on paper, spend all your dollars on paper first. Because I'll just say again, especially since I used to be a young person, the way that I used to see if I could afford something is I would check my ATM balance. There was money in the bank, it might get gone. So write it down, spend it there first so that you know exactly what you're doing and that you're on your plan.
writing it down will definitely make a difference. I've written it down in my head, and somehow the money didn't go to what I said it was gonna go to. But I figured when I wrote it down, I was able to say, okay, on this day, I already wrote down that I'm gonna pay this much. That way you can really knock all that out. Because what the real goal is just to get to wealth. At the end of the day, all we really want in the world is to be able to afford our lifestyle, afford what we enjoy doing, and be able to go from renting to owning, build assets, and build generational wealth. Is that what you guys want to do, or is it just me?
I want to be wealthy.
Okay. I mean, if you want to be poor, there's an app for that. Trust me, I can run up your bills all day long. I'm quick to spend money. But I'd rather teach or help, people get to that wealth accumulation mindset, especially like Mr. Jordan Goodman, like so many other people, even on the line today. So now I've been talking for a lot, but I'm gonna breeze through these, and I want some quick things, both from Mr. Harden and Angela, because both of your stories are phenomenal. I mean, wow. So third slide, I talked about if you didn't have a team, you can get a team, right? Let me tell you about this team. This team is of people who take care of debt. We're talking about debt eliminations, whether it's working you out a budget, whether it's working out a monthly customized plan, but it's really going to be something that takes you from this $200,000 debt that some people may have, where they had that $3,000 that they were spending, 29 years in debt from their creditors, and then going to 7 years. This saved them $160,000, 21 years. Credit, they work on that too. Between 50 to 150 points is the average increase they've been seeing with their clients. Spotless BBB record. And some other things that's included in this is your free credit report. This is all 3 credit bureaus. So when you have things, I'm not knocking Credit Karma, but I'm kind of knocking Credit Karma. When you have an app that shows you your score, you want all 3 scores. Also realize that the scores that you see are not your FICO scores unless you pay additional for those fees. So your FICO score is going to be the scores that actual lenders are looking at, not the actual public score that you're seeing. So there may be a little bit of a differentiation between the two, but there's things to rebuild your credit, like installment credit, revolving credit, rent reporting. There's ways to contact them no matter what, all times, online, email, phone support. There's even a little thing that says, hey, I got a question, help ask the expert. They're actually really, really good with response times. So if you have anything individual to your situation, those are the people to go to. I'm not a credit expert, I'm a realtor, but I know some people that can definitely help you with getting your credit up if you feel like you've ever had a plateau where it didn't go up at all. Smart Credit has been phenomenal. It wasn't extra $20, but it's one of the best $20 I've ever spent, just because when I want to say, I need my score at a 750 today or this month, I was able to push the bar, say what I wanted, and then it told me exactly what to do. And I'm a firm believer, if it's only true if I do it and it actually happens. I did it and it went up. So we're going to say they know what they're talking about. And then for my clients who may have some IRS tax liens, child support, divorce, bankruptcy, foreclosure, all those life circumstances that may have gone wrong somewhere down the past, we do have ways to help with those too, because the mission is based on education. Before I get back into our team, let me bring up both Angela Johnson and Mr. Richard Harden, because these people are 2 people who when I heard their story, I had to really just say, wow, because I've never heard anything like that. Miss Angela, Can you go first, please? Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad to be on the call and to give my testimony. But before I do, let me just give it back up to you with the phenomenal job that you're doing here as you're disseminating this information from your perspective. Um, it just lets me know how big your heart is to help other people and to introduce them to a program that can help them, get to their goal of home ownership. So thank you so much for what you are doing.
Thanks.
And I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do right in this space.
So how have the experts helped you when it came to debt, your pay increase, the assets you've been able to build? Like this, I said that it was a customer for 79 and a business side for 228. Has that been worth it? Have you got that money back?
Oh yeah, I got that money back and some because see, before MWR, I was a person that was pretty much living paycheck to paycheck with very little bit left at the end, and just doing minimal things to keep myself afloat. And I think I would just to say to look like I had everything together, but in all actuality, I did not. So once I got with the MWR organization, Extra Digit Movement, and partnered with MWR Financial, I was able to go through their process because I am a product of the product. And my end game was investments when I got here, because I realized where I was sitting with my finances at the time in my life. So when I did that and got with the experts, they let me know that we're going to start with the first step so we can get you prepared to get to where you want to be. So they got me $587 back in my paycheck just by letting the experts look at my last year's tax return and my 2 recent pay stubs. And that got me $7,200 in an annual salary increase, just like that. Instantaneously. And just to go through this very quickly, I was able to take that money and then use the debt elimination tool and enter in all of my debt, from student loans, medical bills, 2 cars, credit cards, furniture bills, payday loans, you name it, all put in. My creditors had me in debt for the next 28 years, but with the MWR plan, I will be out of debt in 9 years, now down to 7 years. That saved me $72,000 in interest and 19 years worth of debt. And that includes a 30-year mortgage. So took a whole lot off my plate and cash flowed in a lot of extra money so that I could start making decisions on what it is that I was going to do to grow my money. And that's how I got to the private reserve account, got with the wealth advisors. Once I got myself positioned to do what it is I was looking to do, they set me up with that. I'm my own bank now, and that opened the door for me to be able to go invest in other opportunities. And MWR has the platform here because I have now just recently got my land banking together. So this is another avenue that I am using to grow my money. And I wouldn't have had a seat at the table if I hadn't have been with these experts, with the companies that MWR has partnered with, that has done phenomenal work already in the industry. So they already know, and they just put us right there with the Warren Buffetts and everybody else. And I'm thrilled to be in this place and ready for the buy, sell, flip, and invest part of it. So, it's going, y'all, it's going. But that's pretty much my story. MWR, if you're looking to enhance anything or to figure out what it is that you want to do, or purchase a home, whatever it is that you're looking to do, this program can get you ready for that. It's all in there. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's been phenomenal. I see you got your deed and everything like that. Just being able to really accumulate that wealth.
I know. Yes. And then you can leave it to your children and your children's children. That's the whole goal, the legacy right there. So I'm excited about that part. Yeah.
Right. And that's a phenomenal job for you to be able to do. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Mr. Harden.
And I like Angela, I'm just excited to have the opportunity to invite people, because that's the thing. Our platform is invitation only. You actually have to know somebody to have access to the things that this team does. And I really salute you for being one of those people to help people learn the things they don't know. Because I want y'all to understand this. average real estate agent, if you come to them and you can't pre-qualify for a mortgage, they'll say, go get yourself together, get your credit score up. And when you do pre-qualify, come back to me. But here's what Stephanie and Natasha both pointed out to me: as an average person, their credit score is as good as they know how to make it. If somebody doesn't help them with something, it's going to be the same thing next year. So in my case, the experts, and I thought I was doing well. So I'll say that up front. I thought I was doing well financially, but the experts, the first thing they did was increase my income. So when we're talking about debt to income ratio, is two things that you can do to improve your debt to income ratio. Number one is get the debts down. And number two is to increase the income. And the membership did both of those things for me, meaning I got an extra $636 per check. That's $1,272 back into my house that was going out to overpayment of taxes. Making sense so far? Mm-hmm. So with that extra $1,200, they equipped me with this debt elimination plan. This is one of my favorite parts of the membership, what Angela was talking about, where it showed me a way. Check this out. I was able to pay off $52,000 in credit card debts in a year, right? So you talk about payments going down, interest rates going down, and cash flow coming back into the house. One of the most exciting things for me was the experts, after looking at my picture, they said, well, you know, the next debt in your debt snowball is the mortgage on this rental house. They actually helped me pay off the house so that I own it free and clear and was able to increase my cash flow. And at the same time, they helped my credit score go from the low sevens to right now I'm sitting at 824. So that when I went to refinance this house, same house I've lived in for years, I went from a 5.75% interest rate down to 3%. Now, I know those of y'all out there listening saying, well, 3% versus 5.75% doesn't sound like a lot of money, but that's hundreds of thousands of dollars and $700 a month less I was paying to live in the same place because my score was better. Does that make sense? And I just make sure to keep consistent. I send them the uploads because that's the best thing. I don't send any letters. I don't even know what they say to these people. I just send them my credit report. They tell me it's completed and my score keeps going up, and now it's up and it's stuck. So, and then by the way, because of the things that the membership did for people, like the things that me and Angela are talking about was what the membership did when we got started, meaning debt, credit, taxes, and then put us in a position where we had extra cash flow to be able to invest in things like land banking and the private reserve account, which Stephanie's going to talk about. But because of that, we were able to form a partnership that makes our real estate partnership even sweeter. I'm gonna stop talking before I mess up and say the wrong thing, and I'll let you get back to it, Stephanie.
No, you are actually good. Thank you so much, both Angela and Mr. Hard. We're actually going to run through this because thing about real estate is things change all the time. So what you just heard is how they were able to increase credit scores, increase cash flow, lower debt to income ratios, and really maximize the buying power. They were able to pay off houses, decrease the amount of time to actually get in their mortgage. And that's really what it's all about. Just being able to be ahead of the game. Even if you're in bad situations, we have forensic credit restoration attorneys at no additional cost outside of the regular membership. You get pre-qualified, we go look for you a home. You have two options. One, go fight the masses with every other buyer and go ahead and find a house that's already done. Or you can get a house that's customized to your liking through the Fire Your Landlord program. This now is able to get you a house that may not be necessarily up to code or pretty. It might be updated. You're more so looking at the layout of the house, and we have a team of contractors that can actually make it the way that you want it. You can pick out what customized pack you want. You can add a few of your own additions as long as it's in budget and or you have the money to pay for the difference. But it's a phenomenal way to really get into it through flexible owner financing. It's like a rent to own type issue where your name is actually on the deed. So many other times as you go out there, you pay all this money to the landlord, with the hope to buy the house when you're done, but you're not on the deed. You have no right to the actual property. And it's a way to really have everybody on the same playing field. We found you a house, you customized it, and your name's on the deed. Soon as you get your numbers out, and I mean, as soon as you get your numbers up and you're ready, you're now pre-qualified. It goes just in your name. That is now your house. Yay. How do you get started? Really, really simple. You sign up. After you sign up, there's a wealth tier thing. There's a real estate tab there under buy. You're going to do buy, get started, and you're going to get started. After you get started, you have all the things, you upload all the documents, have everything that you need. You then meet with the construction team, let them know what you want done and how you want it done, what the budget is, all those little specs. You actually sit down with somebody to go ahead and do this. They go ahead and knock everything out for you. Boom, your landlord is fired. Now, for this program, we're looking at 3.5 to 5% of the sales price. So if we're looking at a home at 200,000, that's 7K to 10K. Now, the only rules with this is that you cannot have bankruptcies, foreclosures, student loans can't be in collections. You must have at least 2 years of employment. And if you're self-employed, you have to be self-employed for at least 2 years and have those taxes. Now, not just self-employed and have taxes, as in you can't write off every part of your income because they're gonna go off of the income that you had left on your taxes. Some of the things they've been able to do was this person, Susan, was able to go from this 563, 551. They wouldn't have their team knock everything out, and they were able to put it at the 743 and 663, which now made them qualified. Woo woo.
Turn up. I mean, you're saying from a 5 to a 7, and this is over
5
a period
to a
of a couple
7.
months.
Yeah, so the 5 to a 7 is definitely drastic. Like I was saying, even with Brian Bean, who was able to get that decrease, or get his interest rates decreased, that was over $200,000. So now, if you're like most people, you heard all this information and you're just like, okay, who's still gonna pay for this? You threw a lot of numbers out there and it sounds really expensive. So the main thing is just really to go to the other side of the wealth tier. There is Robert Kiyosaki, if you've ever heard of him. He talks about the left side and the right side of the cash flow quadrant. You have employees, you have self-employed, you have business owners, and you have the investors. So this is really a way for you to get on the business side by producing a home-based business. The home-based business is then able to go ahead and have you stop overpaying for taxes. When you stop overpaying for taxes, you're now on the 95% of wealth. You have a leverage system, and you can really get into where the money is growing on the investments that you've done. If you don't know how to do it, that's cool. We're not asking you to go get inventory, go start your own business, create a business plan. It's already done for you. It literally is just a click of a button in your back office. You can get trained 24/7. You can have a private virtual session like the one we're doing now, weekly team overviews, and quarterly events. Like in Atlanta, how we have one coming up actually in a couple weeks. So it's where everybody from all over the US can kind of come together and really be able to be that one group that's like, yes, we're empowering. Yes, we have high credit. Yes, we have our cash flow up. Yes, we have investors. Yes, we can really be on that other side of wealth. 10 ways you get paid. Not going to go over them all because that's a separate conversation. However, paydays are real and paydays are cool. Why? Because the power of 3 can take you from $150 a month, $600 a month, all the way up to $30,000, where you're really going to the freedom tier. Think about if you got a text on your phone and it said $5 a day. You didn't do anything. All you did was breathe. You woke up and it said $20 a day, $30 a day, $100 a day. At what point in time are you like, you know what? If I just sit here, my rent can be paid by the end of the week. And it's really just able to really go ahead and just have that freedom, because somewhere between $150 and $30,000 per month, we want to be able to have something that can reach your goals. So we want something that pays the car, pays the house, gives you more time to spend with family and kids and things like that, more time to get out of debt, and really time to be able to fire your boss and be your own CEO. So really, if I did give you a check right now and gave you $30,000 a month, month after month after month after month, would that help?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I was gonna be like,
Agreed.
if it don't help, what are your bills?
Mm.
I know I said rent was 2,500, but jeepers.
Mm.
And then in addition to that, you still got your luxury bonuses. So this is now a 500 bonus, $500 a month bonus, all the way up to $3,000. And you don't have to spend it on a house or a car. But if you've been eyeballing a car, bam, you just found somebody else who's going to pay the car note. If you've been eyeballing a house but don't really want to pay that $1,250 mortgage, bam, now you got someone else being able to help with it. So given the fact that I've already given you problems that is going to come up when buying a home, as well as solutions to go ahead and help you buy the home, if you were to get an instant pay raise, how would that help you and your family? Is it improving your lifestyle, catching up and eliminating debts, giving more to church, charity, community, living better, or relieving stress? If you have all of the above. If you have more money coming in, I mean, let's really talk about it. What would you do with it?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, shoot, I can talk about what we did with it.
What would you do with it? Yes.
And see,
most
here's the
definitely talk
thing,
about it.
and one of the things I love about the making money piece of what we do is it comes from legitimately helping other people. Meaning, as we get our money in shape, we go through the financial fitness program, we start to get the money that we were already making back into our lives from taxes, from the banks, from the government. But then just by sharing the message, making the invitation to other people, the company pays us for our referral. And I'm blessed to be in a place where I didn't really know exactly what kind of money I'd be able to make in this, but I've been blessed to make it to the $100 a day pay rate. And because the bonuses go together, with the vehicle bonus of 500 and the first tier presidential bonus, I'm in a position where this business that I started, my investment was $228, makes me $45,000 a month, part-time. Like I still, like this conversation we're having, I'm taking a lunch break from work. I'm gonna go back to work, but it's so relieving to have an extra $4,000 a month, $100 a day, regardless of what the people at work think about us, and to have more flexibility to be able to invest, to be able to bless more people, and to be able to pay off the debts even faster now that I have extra income that doesn't require more work from me or another job. It's a blessing.
Most definitely. And that was actually a fantastic way to close. I mean, we can always talk about land banking, real estate, and other ways to really generate wealth, but that was really just what it is. It takes to get a home, get positioned with the right people to go ahead and help you. There's some people that's, living, breathing, just like me and you, that have been able to utilize the systems to really go ahead and get to that next level and have that help. And quick question, Angela and Richard, how long have you been with the program, or how soon did you start seeing results with the income coming in?
Wow. So, I guess both of us started about the same time. So this is what, about,
2 years.
we're still brand new. It's like 2 years.
2 years, right at 2 years.
2 years.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
do you want to go first, Angela, or you want me to go?
What was the question? How long we been in, and
No, how long did you start seeing money coming in? Like
okay.
after you put the $79 in, the 228, how much was it that you start seeing the money come right back?
Oh yeah. So for me, I got started right away with the tax reduction. So I would say it was within 30 days that I got my corrected W-4, and just by the next month. So I say 2 months in, I was getting that cash flow back immediately of $587. And I didn't ball all out with that, because I realized that there was other steps that I needed to go through. So going through the debt elimination, I was able to pay off 2 car notes. So that gave me about, I'm just approximating about 600 additional more dollars that was cash flow back in. And then I was able to pay off 2 credit cards, and that was about $200 more back in. And then I paid off some medical bills because I had acquired quite a few medical bills a couple of years back. So paid that off where I was paying like $350 to $400 to cover those thousands of deductibles that I had to meet. So in total, I would say I got about $2,200 cash flowing back into my house within about 12 months of being in the organization. So that in itself was just huge for me to have that money coming back in. And then because through this process, I generated a story for myself. I kind of just told it to you the way I was living, working for the bank, not knowing all of this good information, and was right in the financial industry. That was disturbing for me to just be right there. But after that, you know, I created a story where I could just share regular, everyday issues that everybody have with their finances that I was going through, and it was very relatable to other people. So once I was able to help some other people see what I saw, some of them did some of the things that I did. And because I was able to help those people, then I was able to generate a passive residual income of $600 that comes in every single month, $20 a day at a time. So all of that in itself has come up to this 2-year mark where I started really seeing money just flowing. It's just gonna flow, and I can see the path now. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right. And it, you know, it's similar trajectory for us. I mean, there's I mean, it's, if you think about it, there's 3 areas that the business impacts us. And because the flow changes, it continues. Meaning once I started making more money at work and started paying off debts and my credit score started going up, just the money that was coming into my life started flowing different. Does that make sense? Like, you just get around the right people, they give you the right help, things start changing. And that's what happened for me. As a matter of fact, one of the best blessings for me was the debt elimination plan. And ironically, as much as I talk about it now, I think I procrastinated a whole 10 days before I even put the information in the thing. And oh my goodness, once I looked at, like once I saw in black and white what my creditors were planning to do for me and what this new plan would do for me with the same money, I was like, if I don't make any more money, I'm in a better position just because they helped me get rid of that. And that's what I got passionate about. And then, you know, it's ironic. I think I got to the position because we were blowing and going. I think in my first 3 days, we got to the $5 a day. And then it was ironic. I hit $20 a day on the way to vacation. So we were on a cruise, and every time I land in a different location, it'd be like, congratulations, you earned $20. Nick like, what you so happy about? I was like, man, I don't even know what I did.
That's the whole thing about leverage income. That is a phenomenal ending. Thank you to most definitely for being guest speakers on today's conversation. Look forward to hearing and growing more with you within the next year to come. Everybody else, tune in next time. Adios, amigos.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. We appreciate
Stephanie. You're a rock star,
Outstanding.
girl. Fantastic.